What's going on, guys? We're back with a brand new video, and today we're going to do the 2014 redraft. You guys have been really loving these redrafts, so I'll just continue on doing these. So this is a very good draft, and this is a draft that had a lot of steals for, like, probably one of the most steals. When I was going through the list of the people I was going to put in the top 10, the amount of players that were like above like 40, I was like, geez. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So first up, we do have Angus Brayshaw. Angus Brayshaw was originally pick 3, and he's kind of had a weird career. He kind of started off slowly getting better and better. Then had his breakout year in 2018, finishing 3rd in the Brownlow, which was a surprise for pretty much everyone. Mainly due to that Melbourne had its first year being a great side in about probably 10 years when they finished 5th and almost went to a grand final, which was a surprise. But then recently the team has really fallen off, finishing I think 17th last year and 9th this year or last year. So they've kind of had a bit of an iffy period. So I expect when Melbourne do get good again that he will get better. He just seems like one of them players. So yeah. At pick 9, I've gone with Dan Butler. This man absolutely broke out onto the scene in 2020. He was leading goal kicker for St Kilda this year and finished 2nd in their best and fairest, only losing to a guy that finished 3rd in the Brownlow, Jack Steele. So no one expected when he got traded for I think a late 3rd round pick from Richmond that he would turn out like this, which kind of led to almost Jack Higgins wanting to get traded to St Kilda because of the opportunity that Dan Butler got, and it kind of like broke. He was just a role player at Richmond. Had a really good year in 2017 when Richmond won their first flag, and that's when the Richmond team, no one expected what they were going to do with the side that they had, and Dan Butler was one of them players that I think kicked 30 goals that year, and was out of their small forwards, he was easily the best small forward, better than Daniel Rioli and Castagna that year. But then ever since then, he kind of just fell out of luck with the Richmond side. But then ever since arriving to St Kilda, he's been an absolute beast, and I almost put him higher. He was an All-Australian nominee. Arguably got robbed for an All-Australian spot because they decided to put Dustin Martin, Bontempelli, and Dangerfield as the forwards. So, and they missed out on some actual genuine small forwards. So I picked Dan Butler at number 9. At number 8, I've gone with Braden Maynard. He was originally picked 30, and this man has been pretty consistent over his AFL career. Really broke out in the scene, I would have to say, about 2018, when Collingwood really made the jump and was a grand finalist that year. And everyone knows what happened in that grand final, but he's just been a great lockdown defender, but then moved to a more of a rebounding role. Kind of like, I think he kind of pretty much like got better this year. I think he was an All-Australian nominee. I could be wrong with that, but if he wasn't, that's an absolute shame by whoever's selecting the team. But he's hard at the footy, great at rebounding the ball, gets a lot of touches for a halfback. I think he's averaged about 20 something this year, which is very good for a halfback, and especially when the quarters were shorter and there was less games. So yeah, I've gone with Braden Maynard at pick 8. At number 7, I've gone with Caleb Daniel. He was originally picked 46 and mainly fell so far in the draft because he is the shortest player currently in the AFL. And even though he's not a great defender, he managed to go to an All-Australian halfback spot. He doesn't defend at all, but it makes up for it by how great he is of a rebounder. Easily the best kick in the AFL. When you just watch this man play, every time he gets the ball, you know he's just got to find someone. He's kind of like almost like a playmaker, like from the NBA, or almost like a like Tom Brady's kind of role when he plays NFL. I can't think of the name of what he is then, but yeah, he's kind of just a playmaker, and he's very good at what he does. Obviously, he's probably never going to be a great defender, but you never know. At number 6, I've gone with Isaac Heeney. This man was a kind of iffy one. He was injured for a lot of this year, but when he did play, he was very good. I think he was playing as almost like a key forward this year because of the lack of tools that Sydney had. but then ended up getting stopped halfway through the season, even though he was very, very good while he was their main key forward. It'll be interesting to see what he does next year. He's in a bad team for the first time in his career. Sydney have been good since he got drafted, but now that Sydney are going to the rebuild stage, it'll be interesting to see how Isaac Heeney does play. And he'll be at the forefront. He might go into a bit more midfield when Buddy Franklin comes back next year. He kind of plays like a Dustin Martin type of role. He's a big-bodied midfielder, very tall for a midfielder. I'm pretty sure. I think he's almost 190. Could be wrong with that. And his ability to mark the ball is almost like no other player. He's very, very athletic. Everyone remembers that mark of the year that he took over Jesse Hogan. So yeah. At number 5, I've gone with Jordan De Goey, who actually was originally pick 5, and I probably might have overrated Jordan De Goey here a little bit, or I could have underrated. I don't know how people react to Jordan De Goey recently, but if I made this list probably a couple of years ago, he probably would have been top 3. That's just how good he was back then. But he's been a bit iffy in the last couple of years. He got injured a little bit. I think he missed like most games this year after he got injured, I'm pretty sure, and then he had like this court stuff going along. But when he does play, he's electrifying. He's the one man that gets compared to Dustin Martin more than anyone else, and Dustin Martin's a very, very good comparison. He broke out onto the scene in 2018. Don't know how he was not All-Australian that year. He was absolutely a star. Pretty sure he kicked about 40 plus goals that year and was playing as their small key forward, which was very, very good, along with Mason Cox and Brody Myercheck. So yeah, I've gone with him at number 5. I expect him to go more into the midfield at coming into this year with the loss of Adam Treloar, but we'll have to wait and see. At number 4, I've gone with Darcy Moore. He was originally pick 9, and he was a father-son player when he got drafted, so he was always going to Collingwood. He did get drafted as a forward ruck, but then ended up developing into a very, very good centre-half back. He was the All-Australian centre-half back this year, and I don't know if he was in 2019. He could have been, I'm not quite sure. But his ability to lock down his opponent while rebounding the footy is absolutely ridiculous. He's a very, very good intercept marker, but does love coming over the top. He's just so athletic for a centre-half back, which makes him so good. And he can play on anyone, any forward. He's a lockdown player. He can rebound. He's everything you want at a centre-half back, and he's still a very, very young player. I think he's about 22, 23 years old, so this shows how much potential this bloke does have to one day be the best defender in the comp. At number 3, I've gone with Jack Steele, who was originally pick 24 in the draft. He was a GWS Academy player, but after being at GWS for a couple of years, decided to request a trade to St Kilda for more opportunity. When he was at St Kilda, he was mainly a tagger, and from where he started to 2019. But when he went into 2020, Brett Ratton decided to use him as a full-on midfielder, and his first year of full-on midfielder ended up being an All-Australian midfielder. So this man has a lot of potential. A lot of people are picking him, including me, for the 2021 Brownlow medal. If he does that, he could arguably go up to number 1 in this draft, but we'll have to wait and see. I would have put him higher, but since this is his first year being an absolute superstar, I'll give him a couple years before he actually goes to number 1. At number 2, I've gone for Christian Petrarca. He was originally picked 2, but this year he absolutely broke out onto the scene. Finished 3rd in the Brownlow, equal with Jack Steele. For his whole career, I think he's been a leading goal kicker for Melbourne in the past, playing as a main forward, but his first year in the midfield, he showed that he was an absolute star. Kind of plays almost like a Dustin Martin type role with how he plays, or like an Isaac Heeney or a Jordan De Goey. He kind of plays that way, but his impact to push forward and kick goals like Dustin Martin shows that he is one of the most lethal midfielders in the comp. Because one of the main things to do, apart from getting touches in the midfield, is hit the scoreboard, and this man absolutely does it. He'll be up there in the Brownlow next year with Jack Steele, like I mentioned before, so it'll be interesting to see what this bloke can do in the future. At number 1, I've gone for Harris Andrews, who was a really pick 61, which is an absolute steal. He got drafted as a forward ruck, but has developed into the best defender in the game. There's no other defender even close to this man. He's an absolute superstar. People don't usually value defenders as much, which is probably why people thought I was probably going to put Christian Petrarca at number one. But you need to value defenders. This man is just the cornerstone of Brisbane. If this man was on Brisbane, they wouldn't be as good as they are now. Just even though they have the Brownlow medalist Lockie Neal, this man is just setting up everything from the back line and stopping any goals that people are trying to kick on this team. So that's why I've gone with Harris Andrews at number one. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to drop a like on this video and comment down below what your top 10 would be for this draft, or who I missed in this draft, because I always like to see opinions on the draft or anything like that, or what you think I could have done better or could have done wrong with this draft. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to drop a like and a subscribe, because we're on the road to 300 subscribers.